Good morning, sixth grade. So what you're going to do today is you're going to take out a sheet of lined paper. You can pull it out of a notebook if you'd like, but make sure you cut off the edges so there's none of those little fringy pieces left over. At the upper right-hand corner, you're going to put your name, and then underneath that, today's date. On the first line of your paper, you're going to write down the words News ELA. If you need to pause this and take a second to do that, please do so now. So you decided to take it easy today because, as you can see from down here, this is grade level 5. So we're taking it easy today, just relaxing a little bit. I get it. Some days are like that. So our title for today is U.S. Strikes Syrian Airbase After Chemical Attack. And you can see the photo here. Some missiles that are being launched. Serious business. Okay. Palm Beach, Florida. On Thursday, the United States military bombed an airbase in Syria. The relatively small country in the Middle East has been in an ongoing civil war for 6 years. The bombs hit an airbase that belongs to the Syrian government. The Syrian civil war started in 2011. The government of President Bashar al-Assad is fighting against rebels who want a different government. Meanwhile, Assad and his army are fighting the Islamic State, also known as ISIS. Russia supports Assad and his government. The United States does not. The attack was approved by President Donald Trump. He said it was a response to actions by Syria's government. Syria's government used chemical weapons against innocent people on Tuesday. President Trump said for years that the United States should not get involved in Syria. His decision to bomb the Syrian airbase was unexpected and surprised many. Retaliation for Syria's chemical weapons attack. The U.S. said it had received evidence that the Syrian government carried out chemical attacks on the town of Khan Sheikhoun. The attack killed 86 people. Many of them were children. Chemical weapons are designed to seriously hurt people. They contain substances that can be deadly when inhaled. Countries have agreed that chemical weapons should never be used in a treaty. As many as 192 countries, including Syria, are part of it. The U.S. strike was intended to send a message. Syria must stop these chemical attacks, Trump said. He says the missiles struck Syrian airplanes and supplies that were used to carry the chemical weapons. Republicans support strike, Democrats hesitant. Trump did not ask Congress for approval before ordering the strike. Trump received support for the strike from Republican lawmakers. Democrats were hesitant to back the president. Senator Chuck Schumer is a Democrat from New York. He said Assad should pay a price for the violent acts he committed. But Schumer said Trump should have discussed the military action with lawmakers in Congress beforehand. The Pentagon is located near Washington, D.C. It is where decisions for the United States military are made. A Pentagon spokesman, Captain Jeff Davis, no relation, said the U.S. military took great measures to avoid hurting innocent people. The airfield was targeted because it was used to store chemical weapons, Davis said. The U.S. government believed that airplanes from that field were used in Tuesday's chemical weapons attack. The Pentagon said that Syrian airplanes and equipment had been severely damaged or destroyed. Tensions running high with Russia. Pentagon officials said the U.S. told Russia about the attack before it happened. As an ally of Syria, Russia keeps military forces in Syria. The U.S. said it tried to avoid hurting Russians in the strikes. However, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said that the U.S. was upset with Russia. The United States and Russia signed an agreement in 2013. It said Russia would help Syria destroy its chemical weapons. Tillerson said Russia should have stopped President Assad from using these weapons. First U.S. military action against Syrian government. The U.S. has been bombing Syria for several years. But until Thursday, the United States had not taken military action against President Assad's government. It had only targeted the Islamic State and other terrorist groups. Senator John McCain said he had recommended that Trump take action to take down Syrian planes. Doctors from neighboring Turkey were treating victims of the chemical attack in Syria. They said that the chemical used in the attack was most likely a deadly one, called sarin. President Trump said he was deeply affected by the images of victims coming out of Syria, especially of young children. Trump administration changes position on Syria. When he was in office, President Obama had called for Assad to step down from power. The Trump administration took a different stance up until this week. It seemed that the United States would be less involved in Syria. Nikki Haley, who represents the U.S. at the United Nations, seemed to say that removing Assad from power was no longer important to the U.S. The United Nations works to increase cooperation between countries. Tillerson and others close to Trump appeared to change their minds Thursday after the chemical attacks. Syria's government carried out chemical attacks near the city of Damascus in 2013. President Obama carefully considered a military response. However, the United States did not respond with missile strikes at that time. Instead, the U.S. and Russia worked out an agreement. With Russia's help, Syria would destroy its chemical weapons. Syria would also join the treaty banning their use. Well, that didn't work. Tillerson said Trump thought carefully about this history before deciding to launch Thursday's attacks. In his statement on the attacks, Trump said years of attempts at changing Assad's behavior had failed. As long as America stands for justice, then peace and harmony will in the end prevail, Trump said. So label number 1 on your paper. What I'd like for you to do is write down what the problem or the conflict in this article is, and then also what the resolution was. After that, I'd like for you to write a number 2. And for number 2, you're going to be drawing a cartoon. There are 3 cartoon characters you're going to draw. One of Trump, one of President Assad, and one of a Russian official. I want you to write down 3 speech bubbles, one for each person, on what they are saying about this, or something they would say to each other about this.